Ladies and gentlemen, we're here for another edition of NSR Wrestling, and this time we're going to be on a little bit of a more lighter note, and we're going to do a little more of a historical one here. We're going to talk about bad gimmicks in wrestling, and also gimmicks that were originally intended for people, but thank God they didn't happen.
And I got to get right to the fact. Should we do bad gimmicks first, or do you want to do...
absolutely bad gimmicks first, because those are the most memorable ones.
I would have to say, probably one of the worst was Battle Cat. Even though I enjoy it, it was bad.
We both have an agreement between the two of us that Paul Roman never got a fair shake as a wrestler.
You know, God bless him.
I mean, even when he was Battle Cat...
Oh, that was Brady Boone. Brady Boone was Battle Cat.
It wasn't Paul Roman?
I swear.
You told me it was Paul
Roma. I never said anything about Paul Roma as Battle Cat. That was Brady Boone. Brady Boone was originally introduced as Billy Jack Haynes' cousin, and then they turned him into Battle Cat. But anyway, Paul Roma, that is true, though.
He never did
it was a shame. They would say, oh, the job guy. No, he's a good wrestler.
I think Battle Cat was a really, really bad named interpretation of Jushin Thunder Liger.
Yeah.
And who's the other animal Japanese one?
Tiger Mask.
Tiger Mask, that's it.
I kind of didn't understand the gimmick. I was like, well, what are they kind of... I honestly, when I was a kid, didn't even remember him being there.
Battle Cat reminds me of, like, that anime Zoids. Like, I mean, I just thought Battle Cat was always, like, the saber-toothed one, but apparently Battle Cat was a pro wrestler.
It's kind of like Lasertron when Hector Guerrero was that, which was interesting. I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't that bad.
We also had the Gobbledygooker. You can forget that.
You know, the Gooker was exciting. I think that there could have... And that was also Hector Guerrero. That poor guy. Really earning a paycheck in the promotions.
Do you remember the Portuguese Man of War?
Oh.
That was terrible.
I didn't... See, that was a problem. I didn't understand what it was. What was his gimmick?
Well, a Portuguese Man of War is actually the largest species in the world of jellyfish.
And he looked nothing like I never understood.
Of course he looked nothing like a jellyfish. Jellyfish have 10 arms, stinging tentacles, and no brain.
But like what was
actually that kind of the no brain part is Sean Waltman to a T. But
why did they call Just Incredible that? I don't understand why. Aldo Montoya, what the hell's that about? And then why does he have a jockstrap on his face?
I don't know. Why was it yellow and green? And
it was interesting. Like when I was like a young guy, like a kid, I didn't mind. I didn't think it was that bad. You know.
We had no idea who he was.
But I didn't understand what they were going for.
No, I didn't either. That was a bad one.
And then after a while, he got like those LOD football pads.
Yeah.
And it was just
Los Boricuas, Puerto Rican Street Gang. That was.
Well, we really hit rock bottom '97, man. That was horrendous.
Doug Furnace and this. Oof.
You know what?
Lost for Equals, the DOA was actually cool.
Yeah, that made sense. But Lost for Equals, like that was everybody that Savio worked with in Puerto Rico getting a paycheck. They all got in there and they got it.
Savio apparently does a pretty damn good job as a promoter. The promoter though down there. I mean, his promotion's been around for quite a while.
Jared's taking care of him now. He has him in that India pay-per-view show.
Jared is a promoter, not bad. Jared is a wrestler.
Yeah.
But other bad gimmicks. Curry Man. Why?
You know what?
Petrie defends him to the hilt, but that was just
horrible.
God awful.
TNA in like 07 to 09 was horrendous.
You don't name a wrestler after a spice that is reserved for the Spice Girls.
Awful. It should have been never should have been on there.
Shark Boy was pretty bad, but the O'Shell thing got some laughs and sold some T-shirts.
Why did they put the kibosh on that? I never understood. Like he just kind of vanished one day. Like he was doing the Steve Austin thing.
He might have gotten a cease and desist order. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, it was bad.
The Renegade was pretty bad. The Ultimate Warrior ripoff.
I didn't mind it as a kid. I thought it was cool, something different. But yeah, it was bad. The Johnsons in TNA were horrendous. They put those guys who were the Gemini, a.k.a. the Shane twins, in giant, like, condom-looking outfits. Horrible.
Jacob and Eli Blue, the 7-foot-tall West Virginia meth dealers. That was a terrible gimmick.
Those guys went from, like, WCW, ECW, or ECW to WCW, then the WWF. They were a mess. And then when they became DOA, it wasn't so bad.
Yeah, and they were the Harris Brothers, weren't they? They were awesome as the Harris Brothers, but they looked so much different. It's like they lost 5 inches of height and put on about 40 pounds of muscle each.
Because it's like they were those guys, the Blue Brothers, then they turned into the Grimm Brothers for a while.
Maybe they really were on that.
Yeah. They would come in and out of WWE so many times. Terrible.
That was a bad one. The Oddities.
Oh.
What the hell was Golga?
That was kind of weird.
Kurgan? Kurgan wasn't part... Was Kurgan part of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. That was after the Truth Commission. That was a pretty bad one, too. They were neo-Nazi right-wing.
They were like the South African like white supremacists, but then they would help the nation of domination, which I didn't understand.
Yeah, I didn't either.
That was bad. But Golga looked like a murderer, like a serial killer or something.
Yeah, Golga seemed like he was heavily inspired by Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
John tended to earn that paycheck.
Silva was strange too.
He was weird.
Yeah, he freaked me out.
It was just it was odd. It was the oddities, and then they threw in Luna and the ICP and God knows who else. I think Jerry Lewis was with them for a while. I mean, it was nuts.
Yeah, that was a bad one. Oh my God,
the Mantar. Remember the Mantar?
Oh God, I'll never forget Chris Jericho's return, and like one of his many. And as it was counting down, and everyone knew it was Y2J.
Yeah.
But all you hear is Jerry Lawler go, "Oh God, I hope this isn't about Mantar."
Oh God. I remember
Johnny Polo.
Yeah, man.
I was reading about him today. One hilarious memory of that. He was part of a commentating team with Gorilla Monsoon, and Monsoon was referring to one wrestler. He said he was unceremoniously dropped outside, and Raven, with his Mensa IQ, as Johnny Polo goes, "Oh, come on, Monsoon. When's the last time you ever saw someone have a ceremony for being thrown out of the ring?"
Damien Demento was another interesting character.
Now he has a son, which is essentially the same thing, right? But what, 666 after his name?
Oh no, that's the Damien from Mexico. Yeah, Damien Demento was that dude. Like he just came from like the inner workings of your mind or something, and he had this gigantic like
question. Oh my
God! Remember that bird thing on his shoulders? Like what the? It was interesting. They could have went somewhere with it, but
do you remember Kazarni, aka if Vince Neil was a pro wrestler? Pre-plastic surgery.
Did he last like 2 weeks?
I don't even remember him being on the show because I think I watched that episode.
You know who that guy was? Got pushed. That was one of the guys from PG-13. Then they turned him into one of the guys from the Disciples of Sin. He wore the patch.
Yeah.
I think not Malice, but the other guy, Sin. And then now he's Kazarni, which didn't help him.
This is a rare one. This was like I think a WWE live event only one, and this is in about 2005. They decided to split up the Basham brothers, which were pretty bad in their own right. And Danny Basham became known as the Damager.
Oh.
And this drunk guy behind me in the audience just completely ripped him apart as soon as he heard the words the Damager and just went off on this 10-minute rant for this entire opening squash match that he later won.
Oh.
And I don't think I ever saw him again after that.
It was kind of like Mark Jindrak when he like changed his gimmick. They put him on Raw and then he vanished. But no, Mark
The giant mirror was cool, though.
That was.
I liked that.
Yeah.
Did he carry it with him?
Yeah, he did. It was great. Him and Theodore Long, they had a good thing going on. Then they, of course, ruined it.
I remember he had a really good match with Van Dam on SmackDown, and it was the first time I ever saw Van Dam do the spot where he jumps off the top rope and smacks his neck on the audience barricade. I thought Mark Jindrak killed him.
Ooh.
And he came dangerously close to beating Rob Van Dam, but he didn't.
Yeah, this isn't a knock on Mark Jindrak at all. He's a great wrestler. God bless.
But yeah, you know what? They gave the same gimmick to Cody Rhodes, and then they just put the mirror in the screen instead, and it worked for him. Figure that one out.
Of course.
Although, he's not a bad wrestler. But anyway, other bad gimmicks. Let's see. Who can forget? A terrorist, Muhammad Hassan. That was horrible.
Oh,
I mean,
horrendous.
Okay, and as Arab supremacist, that's okay. The whole suicide bomber funeral thing...
Whoops.
That's why you got powerbombed 15 feet under the stage and probably died. And that's why The Undertaker almost knocked you out with one punch during the match. Well, actually, because you hit him too hard and he got mad, but still.
That's pretty horrendous. I remember, what is his name? This gimmick was horrendous. They called him, like, the Fantasia. It was in WWF in, like, 95. This guy was known as a Spellbinder in USWA. He came as Fantasia.
Yeah.
And he stole, like, Triple H's underwear or something. It was terrible.
It was weird. You know what? WWF used to be famous for starting feuds because somebody would steal something from somebody else.
Yep.
Jean-Pierre Lafitte stole...
that was bad,
Pirate,
too.
by the way. Stole Bret Hart's jacket, and that literally led to a feud Shawn Michaels talked about in his book, and I was like, wow, it was that bad?
Yeah, he
Shawn,
vanished.
I can see what you mean.
He vanished after that. That was the end of him.
Did he keep the jacket, or did Bret get it back?
I don't know.
The urn was always stolen.
Ship must have sailed. I don't know.
Kama, the Supreme Fighting Machine, in '96, before only
No one had any idea.
No one knew what Ultimate Fighting was back then, really.
And he didn't do any of the moves. I'm like, what is this guy? He's just...
No, he's a conventional wrestler dressed up as a street fighter.
Yeah, I didn't understand it at all. I'm like, what is this guy doing? He's wearing an undershirt, and he's doing... He didn't do any moves. He did a couple punches and a few kicks, but he never did any takedowns or nothing. I mean, he should get that to 7.
We had Mordecai, the religious zealot.
I liked it, but then it just went in the gutter.
Yeah, but you know what? The biggest problem with Mordecai was when you come down to the ring with a big-ass sword, you're teasing the fans too much, and eventually they're going to want to see you use the sword as a weapon.
Yeah.
If it were ECW, the fans would have grabbed the sword and stabbed somebody with it.
And rightfully so. I would have to say, speaking of ECW, Mass Transit, remember him?
Oh, I remember Mass Transit. That was pretty bad.
That was amazing. I mean, the Red Rooster.
They were so inventive in ECW, though. They took a big guy and named him 911 because he put you in the hospital. That's awesome.
God bless him.
I mean, quick and dirty, marketing, giving a wrestler a name. That's awesome.
There was also the Ding Dongs from...
Oh, I remember the Ding Dongs.
Ding Dong. Or the, what's the Cruel Connection? Oh, God. I mean, WCW brought in some of the worst.
Yeah.
Of the worst.
Oh, the Shockmaster.
Shockmaster was bad. Ranger Ross was bad.
Stevie Ray Vaughan's Stevie Ray's solo career.
Oh, my God. May that rest in peace forever. Los Fabulosos, which was El Dandy and Silver King. Managed by Stacy Keibler.
Then there were little things that wrestlers would do that just looked completely weird and out of place. You remember when DDP wore jeans for 2 years?
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't like that at all.
Sid Vicious did the same thing. And
put on tights.
When Chris Jericho first switched to underwear instead of tights,
I was weird.
Like, please put some pants on. You're a great wrestler, but I can't watch this.
It's so weird.
He looked so strange. And then him with short hair, that was hard to get used to. Kurt Angle bald the first couple of weeks was odd.
I don't like him bald.
I don't want to see what he'd look like with hair now.
There's nothing left. It all fell out.
TNA was awesome. I missed them, the tag team. They were good.
I'd say Orlando Jordan in just general.
Orlando Jordan.
No matter what gimmick.
You know what, though? When he was secretary of state for JBL, I thought he actually had some potential. He was not a bad wrestler back then. Orlando Jordan and TNA just scared a lot of people and made a lot of families turn away. And a lot of Christians homeschool their children.
Oh, God. Remember Santa Claus? And it was like Paul Mahoney was Santa Claus for a while. It was like 2 matches or something.
Yeah, that was strange. Santa had a really lengthy run in wrestling, though. Really, sports in general. I mean, he was in Eagles games and everything else.
Oh, God.
I'm surprised there was never a steady Christmas-themed character.
There should have been. I think there still can be. An evil elf or something. I remember when Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker was a leprechaun. That was... We really hit rock bottom.
Bizarre. And then we got a real leprechaun.
Oh, my God. Yeah, oh, God. I mean, they just the whole Dungeon of Doom in general.
Yeah.
That was Doom. We were doomed to fail. I mean, Curtis IK led that ship to the gutter.
Then there were the wrestlers' names that just made you, like, question things. We had Jazz. Like, okay, so what? You're an improvisational piece of music. You're going to fight someone. Great. Have fun with that.
Remember, like, John Cena started getting his own little rap gang together with, like, B Squared?
B Square. And whatever happened to B Square?
That was Bull Buchanan.
I know, but I mean, whatever happened to him?
Always indie wrestling. I went to Japan for a while. Same thing with, like, Rodney Mack. They were putting him in the group, and then that got pulled.
Then there's the affronts to the special needs community that WWE has had. We had Eugene, and then we had Matt Morgan as a stutterer. Stuttering is a very serious problem, okay? Bubba Ray Dudley had to overcome a serious stutter early in his career.
See? We should be a little bit more sensitive to that.
We've had black supremacists, white supremacists.
Every gang and group you could imagine. The Canadian factions.
World Elite. What the hell were they?
That was like the ununited nations. That was cluster.
They were a cross between the bad guys, not counting Bison from Street Fighter, and
that was ridiculous.
One of those what's like that horrible PX9 clothing or PCX clothing, the Urban Outfitters.
Yeah.
Because the one I remember, I'll never forget, the Asian guy that never wrestled always wore the same T-shirt and jeans.
I hated him.
The same like bedazzled like Affliction ripoff T-shirt.
Yeah, he was so annoying.
Week. He was. I don't even think he ever wrestled.
You like Canada, Mexico, Japan, and Britain in this World Elite cluster. It was just the biggest mess.
It was really bad. Team Canada actually worked.
You had them, the main event Mafia, and then just the TNA Originals fighting. It was just
You know
this
what? That was
mess.
funny because other than the FBI, we never really saw a Mafia type group.
No.
Other than the main event Mafia.
We need like a mobster gang group to come in.
That doesn't go over well in Chicago. They booed the hell out of John Cena. Although
And
that could
rightfully
have been because it was John Cena.
We all hate John Cena.
Other than bad gimmicks, let's talk about ridiculous things wrestlers have worn for maybe one time only. Triple H's Viking outfit at WrestleMania 22.
Yeah, what was that about? Was he just because he's the King of Kings or whatever?
Yeah. I gotta say, a lot of people will attack me for this one. The Undertaker's purple gloves. I've never seen an Undertaker wear purple plastic gloves. Those are gardening gloves.
I liked it because it was new, but yeah, it was kind of odd.
The gray and black went better. That was cool, but
Well, I think they're trying to spice it up a little bit, but you can't really spice up the dead.
Yeah.
So we're talking about gimmicks that other people were going to get and things that they shouldn't have worn. Well, remember when Terry Taylor was supposed to be Mr. Perfect?
Oh, dear God.
That would have been bad.
I can't picture anybody else being Mr. Perfect but Mr. Perfect.
And Nick Bockwinkel was supposed to be the $1 Million Man.
When The Undertaker fractured his orbital bone, the original plan was to have him have... I liked the face mask that he had, but they actually planned to give him Mankind's mask, and that just would have been bizarre.
Yeah, it would have been kind of odd.
And hard to breathe. I don't think that would have worked.
Yeah,
I think that would have essentially turned him into Abyss.
Yeah, that would have hurt him more than helped.
Yeah. Thank God they gave it to Mankind.
I'm trying to think of some other weird outfits that wrestlers wore that kind of didn't really fit into the gimmick.
I know he was doing it just to be like a typical heel. Did you see the sparkly jacket that Chris Jericho wore? They'd turn on all the lights and he would come out instead of having pyro, and he would have these flashing, they were like Christmas lights on his jacket. That was pretty bad.
When was that?
This past WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah, see, I don't even watch.
That was bad.
I love I do commentary about WWE, but don't watch the program. Oh, God. Figure that out.
Kurt Angle's wig.
Oh, yeah, that was great. You know what that was? That was an old WCW or WCCW thing where they
shave your head match.
They shaved what's his face, Buddy Roberts' head, and he wore the same thing with a head thing on for months
until his hair grew back.
Yeah, but neither of us gonna remember that. I guess I'm trying to think of like an outfit or something that look kind of odd on somebody. I guess they're trying to kind of beef up their look. I'm really kind of drawing a blank.
D'Lo Brown on a bulletproof vest.
Oh yeah, that
had to hurt so bad getting that splash.
Whose idea was that?
I don't know.
I think it was part of a gimmick or something. He got hurt or something. It was to protect his sternum or.
Even still, I mean, hell, it made him European champion for a while.
Yeah, D'Lo was one of those guys that he gave you a lot, but no one ever gave anything back.
No.
Fans didn't care.
And his action figure didn't look a damn thing like him.
No, it's like, who is this guy?
And it was one of the really rare ones that had two open hands. It didn't have a single fist. Usually they either had two fists or a fist and an open hand. He just had two open hands and it looked really weird.
I do have his original Nation Domination one where he's two fists, but that other one's more memorable. It looked more like D'Lo anyway. The other one's like, what the hell?
Who's this tall, skinny Puerto Rican guy?
Yeah, literally, oh my God. I kind of think Prince Albert was a little junky looking in the beginning.
Yeah.
Remember when he had that weird singlet thing and there was a zipper and then he got the shirt. That looked better.
Although the shirt, if he hadn't been wearing pants, if he had different pants, he would have looked like a member of Right Said Fred gone horribly wrong.
Oh yeah, he let himself go. And
some of the stuff Shawn Michaels wore was a little questionable.
Yeah, a little fruity.
Like the Madonna hat that he had in 95, 96, I was like, I like you, man, but this is just odd, and why are you stripping?
Yeah, I mean, were we Chippendales here or WWE? Yeah. I remember Rick Martel wore a captain's hat. That was looking kind of weird. And where's Tennille at? You can sing "Don't Go Breaking My Heart" or whatever.
Yeah, that was odd for sure.
Oh no, actually, they didn't sing that.
With the caution tape all over him.
That was bad.
What was up with that? It's like you build yourself as the King of Hearts, and now you're a crime scene.
What? Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
Jeff Jarrett's terrible rubber capes.
Oh,
those are just awful. And the guitar. Enough. Just enough.
Speaking of that, remember when Hall and Nash did the Elvis gimmick because they were the kings of wrestling? That was horrible.
Yeah, but the funny thing is there was later a tag team called the Kings of Wrestling.
Figure that out. They didn't actually dress like Elvis. Remember the Flying Elvises too in TNA? Oh my God.
I remember the Flying Elvises.
Too much TNA Elvis. Stop it.
The Bravado Brothers in ROH are pretty damn terrible.
Are they?
They wear yellow, and I think they're British, and they look like the Beatles, and they are terrible.
Never really watched them. I don't know who they are.
I wouldn't bother.
Is that on tonight? No, it's not. It's on tomorrow night.
Homicide was always a little weird, but at least he stayed consistent. Suicide was a terrible gimmick.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're pushing the game that no one bought.
People said it was Kaz, but it looked like Rob Van Dam on several occasions.
It was several guys, but you know what, though? I mean, like, the game, for years they were pushing it, and it looked like WCW Mayhem from 1999.
And the gameplay was terrible. I had it. I played one match, I lost, I took it back.
Yeah, I mean, just... Oh.
I feel bad because it was a Christmas present. My mom thought I'd really like it, and I didn't.
Oh. Well, it was stupid. There was no moves, nothing.
And back then, I liked WWE a lot better back then. So I had SmackDown, and I was so much happier with that. And I was like, but this only has Kurt Angle and Sting. I don't like these other people.
Well, yeah, and it was just so bland.
Bland. It was pretty bad. WCW versus the World was a good game, but anyway, other bad gimmicks.
Or even I'm trying to think of some outfits that look bad on people. They were trying to look different. Jeez, there's so many. I can't really think of anybody at the moment. It's like, well, remember when Bobby Heenan did the Weasel suit? That was kind of dumb.
It was funny, though.
It was.
It got over with the kids.
It did. I remember when, LOD, Paul Ellering, did the ventriloquist dummy gimmick. Why did they make him do that? That was just... WWF in 92, man. They made him have this dummy called Rocco. I mean, Paul Ellering had no need for a puppet to be there. You know?
Who was that one veteran that went to ECW and he never had a shirt on and he was blonde and fat?
Tommy Rich?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Why would you put that on TV? That was terrible. God.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are many worse ones, but that's all we can think of for right now.
My brain's fried.
Yep.
Well, I'm Chris.
I'm Peck.
See you later.
Yep.